Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I decided that today I would actually have a Powernomics conversation
Hey,
while
what's up,
I
guys? I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you
slaughter
guys can hear me
zombies and
okay.
kind of mess around and stuff like
I
that.
decided that
And
today I
so
would actually have a Powernomics
I was thinking
conversation
about
while
Dr.
I
Claude Anderson
slaughter
and
zombies and kind of
actually
mess
give me
around
a
and stuff
yes in
like
the
that.
chat if you're able to hear
And
me okay
so
while I'm playing. If you
I
can't hear
was
me,
thinking
I could
about
turn the
Dr.
game
Claude
down or I could
Anderson,
put it on mute. But I
and
wanted
actually
to
give me a yes in the chat if you're able
kind
to
of
hear me
just, you know,
okay
it's a
while
Saturday
I'm playing.
afternoon,
If you
so
can't hear me,
I
I
figured
could
we
turn the
would just
game
have a
down or I
fun
could put it on
conversation while
mute.
we just, you
But
know,
I
while I
wanted
do something a
to
little different. I'm
kind
not
of
really
just, you
into
know, it's a
work
Saturday
mode today,
afternoon, so
but
I figured we would just have a
I
fun
was I
conversation
was
while we
talking to
just,
Dr. Claude
while I do
Anderson,
something a little different.
and
I'm not
we
really
were
into work
discussing,
mode today. But
um, you know,
I was
support or
I
lack
was talking to
thereof
Dr.
when it
Claude
comes
Anderson,
to.
and
Actually, you know,
we
before
were
I can
discussing,
hear there's an echo. Okay, you know what? There is an echo. Let me turn this off.
support or lack thereof when it comes to. Actually, before I can hear there's an echo. Okay, you know what? There is an echo. Let me turn this off. Hold on. Okay, are you able to hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. I think I turned the echo off. Tell me if you can hear me. Sorry about that. My apologies. My apologies. So hold on. Let me know if you can hear me. You can hear me loud and clear? Okay, Cal. Put the game on mute. Two voices are dubbed. Yeah, I agree. Let me know if you can hear me. Are you able to hear me okay? Give me a yes or no. Okay, better, says Corey. And yup, says Michael. Can hear you. Okay, good. All right. So what I wanted to talk about, so today I was just kind of sitting here just kind of messing around. Alicia and I are about to go running. But I thought that this would be a fun time to have like a quick conversation about powernomics because one of the things that I was discussing with Dr. Anderson today, which by the way he told me to tell you hello. He wants to come back on the platform soon. Is we were talking about the challenges that he faces. When it comes to doing things for Black people and trying to get the Biden administration or anybody, even some of your civil rights superstars, your fake Black leaders, getting them on board to do anything significant for Black people is extremely difficult. And one of the things that we talked about is the fact that part of the reason that the Biden administration doesn't listen to Black people, they don't listen to Black Lives Matter, they don't listen to forget Dr. Claude Anderson. I mean, they won't even talk to the fake Black leaders. They won't talk to Black Lives Matter. They don't really show a lot of respect to Al Sharpton or all these other people that I guess are self-anointed as Black leadership. And a lot of that's because they pretty much don't respect you as a community in terms of your mindset. They look at Black people as weak. They look at Black folks as unintelligent. They see us as sheep. That will just literally vote for anything or anyone without any sort of validation or justification for that decision. Like we would literally go along with any bandwagon just because some celebrity told us to do it. So they pretty much know that to get whatever they want out of you, whether they want to get your money, your vote, your children, or whatever, all they got to do is get celebrities to do it and also kind of make it into like a trend for people to kind of all do the same thing. So if everybody is voting for the same politician, you're trained. You have people with that slave mindset that are trained to put pressure on those who don't go along with the crowd. And that's why I deliberately don't go along with the crowd, because you're not going to force me into a box. I'm just not participating in any of that stuff. If it don't make sense, I'm not doing it. And one of the other things that happens here. Now, by the way, you want to turn the game down? I could try to mute the game if you want me to. Hold on, let me turn on my Twitch. So tell me if that makes a difference. Tell me if you're able to hear me okay. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Say I can hear you or something like that. That way I just know I'm not talking to myself or talking to the air. But yeah, so the thing about it is that you don't get anywhere with these politicians because the people that are supposedly leading you are weak, they're unstrategic, they're not intelligent, and they follow the crowd. They get caught up in things like, oh, well, we need police reform, and that's it. Like, that's it. Like, all we're going to talk about is fucking police reform. Shit, I got killed. All we're going to talk about is fucking police reform when we got a million other agenda items that we should be addressing, right? All we're going to talk about is this one guy who got shot by the cops, but we're not going to talk about the fact that black people need economic power in order to control our communities. They won't talk about the fact that reparations has not been paid. They won't talk about the fact that we got black businesses that can't get off the ground because they can't even get $10,000 in a loan. They're not talking about any of that. They talk about the same stupid shit that is on the Democratic Party agenda. It's like, oh, let's all talk about gay people. Let's all talk about immigrants. Let's all talk about how we can save the world. And the thing is, while you out here saving the world, ain't nobody out here saving you. Ain't nobody. Give me a yes or no if you understand what I'm saying. I mean, are you seeing any evidence that they're out, that this stuff is really helping the black community? Are you seeing any evidence that black people are better off after voting for the same damn politicians in every election over and over and over again, doing the same damn thing, going along with the same bandwagons? I mean, I know these people. I mean, a lot of them went to college, and they had these college degrees from these big white universities that pretty much taught them how to be white liberals in blackface, right? So they'll come in, they'll start talking more about all these other issues and I know where it comes from because I'm a thinker. I think very carefully about things and I observe everything. And they'll come in, and remember, I was a college professor. I've been on college campuses for over 30 years. So I know how this social engineering process works. And what effectively has occurred in my mind, and this is just on my brain because I literally just finished having a conversation with Dr. Claud Anderson, is that it puts you in a situation where your whole community remains ass backwards because you're listening to the wrong people and putting your energy into the wrong shit. Like, you're literally listening to idiots tell you to follow along with idiot protocol. And if you are taking orders from idiots, then you're going to be a super idiot. If you're taking orders from weak-ass people, then all a weak-ass person can show you is how to be a weak-ass person. These people don't have any true economic power. The only way they know how to give money is to go beg white corporations to give it to them. The only way they know how to get access to resources is if Joe Biden throws them a couple of crumbs in the government grant. The only thing they know about paying bills and getting money in people's pockets is by chasing some government job and living off a government salary. And so what I'm saying is that, one of the things that really became apparent to me, and this is something that we've kind of addressed it before, but I kind of feel like we got to really nail ourselves down on this. And let me pause it for a minute, make sure you guys can hear me. Okay. So Craig says you can hear me. All right. Yeah, it's called Call of Duty Zombies. So I'm just playing zombies. So I figured it'd be something different to do. And if you think playing video games is immature, I mean, all I can say is fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Like maturity's overrated. I'm gonna live my life, and this is what I like to do to relax sometimes. So it's really a lot of fun. But in fact, if you haven't done it, you may want to look into it. It's actually like really, really fun. But anyway, so here's the deal. When you're talking about where the community is and where the community needs to go, you have to accept the fact that a lot of the reason that you're not moving forward is really our fault. It's really our fault because we listen to stupid people. We let some dumb celebrity go on Instagram and tell everybody what to do. Like, hey, y'all, we meeting over at the Chicken Shack. You allow other people to convince you to solve everyone else's problems but your own. So you end up, advocating for gay rights and immigrants and stop Asian hate. Like, I don't know where the fuck that came from. That whole like I'm like, where's the sudden spate of all these alleged black people attacking Asian people? Like what are you talking about? Like that's just like the weirdest thing in the world, that you actually have black people that are taking time. Like, your community's falling apart. You don't have 1/10 to 1/1000th of what you deserve, but you really got enough time to go save the Asian community. When ain't none of them out here trying to really save you. I mean, you got a couple of good exceptions, but they're not really, as a community, fighting for you the way you're trained to fight for them. Like, that's just crazy to me. It doesn't make any sense. And what it really says, honestly, is that in the community, you're dealing with a lot of mental illness. You're dealing with a lot of people that don't have very high self-esteem. They don't have their intelligence level isn't very high in terms of understanding how the game of politics works. Um, they don't understand anything about what it takes to accumulate real power. And this is what Dr. Anderson and I were talking about. We were just kind of talking about the fact, like he said something like he said, basically he said, boys, one of the only people I'll deal with is you, because you understand, you get it. And I said, well, the funny thing is that the feeling is mutual. I meet a lot of people who want to, maybe come on my platform or whatever, and I'll listen to their ideas. I'll listen to what their solutions are to improve the community, and I'll think to myself, like, this isn't going to work. Like, you're trying to convince me that 2 plus 2 is 187, and I'm a mathematician, and I'll listen. And I'll say, from a logical standpoint, the idea that you have just isn't going to work. Like, you're really telling me that if I go vote for these same fucking politicians that we've been voting for the last 40 years, that somehow that's going to be a solution that's going to help us solve, an 80-year-old problem. And so I'm just going to tell you that a lot of the so-called problem solvers that you have, and the people that claim that they're your leaders and whatever, they are incredibly ineffective people. I mean, look at their lives. Like, ain't none of them ever created a damn job for nobody. They don't know how to get, like, they haven't gone into a community and put millions of dollars of resources into that community. They don't even understand what people need. All they know how to do is whine and complain and beg. That's all they know how to do, is whine, complain, and beg. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they are white supremacists. And what I mean by that is that many of these individuals, what they do is they pretty much tell you, falsely, I add, that the key to black empowerment is to go beg some white politicians to take care of you. Or the key to black people getting ahead economically is to go beg white people who run businesses to give you a job. Or the key to getting an education as a black person is to go beg a white person who runs the school to let your child into that school. That's white supremacy. Like, that's white supremacy, because white supremacy means that I'm putting you above myself. I'm putting you in a position where you are the superior, where you are the answer to my prayers, like where you are the one who is going to improve my life. And so I don't believe that. I believe it, my philosophy, which is admittedly biased, is more of what would be called a black nationalist philosophy. I got some of this from people like Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X. I do not believe that white people are ever going to save black people. I do not believe Asian people are going to save black people. I do not believe that Jewish people are going to save black people. I do not believe that Democrats are going to save black people. I believe that black people are going to save black people. And it won't be all black people, because a lot of black people, unfortunately, are just stupid. A lot of our people are backward, ignorant, distracted, hooked on drugs, too busy with alcohol, too busy whining and bitching about daddy issues from childhood to take care of their kids. Too many of our people, a lot of our men, we glorify men who are not men. We glorify men who will spend their whole life sitting around smoking crack and drinking liquor and fucking 10,000 women and making 8,000 babies and not taking care of their kids and destroying all their family wealth. And we act like these people are our heroes because maybe they made a good song, or maybe the guy's was a really good actor, or he was your favorite celebrity. Like, seriously, like, you glorify the wrong people. You celebrate dysfunction. You will sit here and you will listen to a rapper literally say to a million black men that they should sit around and use drugs and drink all day and waste all their money and go have sex with 10,000 women and engage in every criminal act possible so they can go to jail, and then murder black people and brag about it. And those people become your heroes. Next thing you know, that person is like going to do interviews with politicians on behalf of black people. Or that's the person that they ask on ESPN about, black issues and civil rights. Or that's the person that you literally designate as a de facto black leader because they're sitting and kicking it with the mayor or kicking it with the governor. And they're not listening to black people that actually have solutions. So when you're getting solutions, I mean, again, I told you I'm a mathematician. That's my master's degrees in mathematics. So if you have a really hard math problem, racism is harder than any math problem I've ever solved. White supremacy is a very difficult equation to figure out. So when you're trying to solve a difficult math problem, and I know this as a mathematician, you don't go to somebody who made an F on the math test and ask them to solve the problem for you. You don't go to the person who never took a math class. You go to the person who understands how to solve the problem. So I just asked you this. Give me a yes or no. Are you convinced that the civil rights superstars that you see on TV, the Negroes that the anointed Negroes, if you will, the ones that are on CNN, the ones that they pick to speak at the Martin Luther King dinners at every college campus, the ones that are sitting next to Joe Biden, do you believe in your heart of hearts that these people are going to solve problems, significant problems in the black community? Do you believe? Give me a yes or no. Do you believe that that whoever that big linebacker that works with Joe Biden is, I think that's Simone Sanders, the one who hates black men. Do you believe that Simone Sanders, with her big old linebacker self, because she really is a linebacker, she should be playing for the Dallas Cowboys because she really did tackle the dude when he tried to run up on Joe Biden? I don't know if y'all saw that video. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. But do you believe that Simone linebacker Sanders is going to really be the person that can really solve problems for the black community? Do you believe that Raphael Warnock out of Georgia, do you believe that Raphael Warnock, who was elected in Georgia from with a campaign that cost $250 million, most of that money that came from corporations and not black people, I got killed. Do you believe that Raphael Warnock is going to go and really be able to put, $500 million into the black community, into the hood? Is he going to be able to create, 100,000 jobs, 50,000 jobs for black people? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. Do you believe that Al Super Perm Sharpton, the guy who is a documented FBI informant, no disrespect, but it's true. Go look it up. It's all over the internet. Do you believe that Al Sharpton, the man who met with Barack Obama, maybe 100 times or something, or 50 times or some insane number, and got no results? Do you believe that Al Sharpton is going to solve problems for the black community? Do you believe that this is going to solve the problem with the black family? Do you believe this is going to solve the problem with black folks who just need the ability to make independent income through running businesses? Do you believe that these are the people that are going to get $1 billion or $10 billion to fund black-owned schools? Do you believe that these people are going to solve the problem? Yes or no? Well, the answer is hell to the no. Hell to the no, no, hell to the no, no, no. And the thing is that if you believe the answer is yes to any of those questions, then we shouldn't be having a conversation. You probably shouldn't even be here. Like Dr. Anderson, we were talking and we were laughing about the fact that he said, boys, he said, there's people out here that just really don't like you. And I said, yeah, there's people out here that don't like you either. And I said, the reason that they don't like people like us is because we represent something that is not common in the black community. We represent something that reflects critical thinking skill, strategic thinking, logic. Logic is not popular. It's not popular to say, okay, this ain't working. Let's try something different. It's not logical to say, look, come on, man, we could do this. We got to do this ourselves, right? It's not, in fact, and also it's empowerment. Empowered talking is not popular in the black community, right? It's not empowering when you say we need white people in order to solve this problem, right? So when you come in and you say, no, we can do this ourselves, people don't get that. Or if you say, hey, why are we begging for jobs? We can build our own businesses. Well, a lot of people ain't ready for that kind of talk, right? Again, because unfortunately, many of our people, that slave thinking runs deep. Like a lot of our people are raised and trained to believe at an early age that being black means that you can't do a goddamn thing for yourself. That being black means you can't build a school. Omar Johnson been talking about building a goddamn school for a decade. And I'm not saying he ain't going to build a school. I hope he does. I really do. God bless him if he does. But we should have built 20,000 schools by now. One school is not going to make a big difference nationwide, right? So I'm not even saying, if you ask me about his school, I'm not going to say yes or no. Like, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I gave $25 to the school. But really, why aren't we on an industrial scale building thousands of schools? We got millionaires, we got celebrities out here that have $100 million contracts, 100 million followers on Instagram, that have connections to corporations and all kinds of people that have money. Why haven't they built a school system where independent black educators can run these schools and have a $10 million a year budget and educate thousands of black kids? Why in the fuck are you so pathetic that you're waiting on one guy to build one school? So I'm not even really, I don't even really care much about, Umar's school one way or the other. I don't dislike what he's doing. I hope he does it, but it's really weird to me. Like, and this just speaks to the lack of empowerment that you have as a community. That, he was on the Breakfast Club the other day. He's one of the best speakers I've ever heard, by the way. And he was on the Breakfast Club talking about this damn school. And I'm like, how are we going to compete with the world when you sitting around waiting a decade, 40 million people waiting an entire decade for one school? White people done built 1,000 schools since we started talking about that school back in 2013. White people have literally probably built 8,000, 10,000 schools. We trying to build one? Are you kidding me? We got all these celebrities and we can't build one school? So I'm just trying to tell you that, overall, I think the reason that somebody like a Dr. Claud Anderson and Powernomics doesn't resonate with so many people in the community is because they don't know anything about what it feels like to have real power. They just don't. They can't even fathom the idea of black people doing things by ourselves. I mean, some of y'all even start businesses where you probably heard this, where people will think that if you start your business and you're just there to serve black people, they really feel like if you're not connecting with white people and serving white people, that you're missing out, that you're never going to succeed if you don't wire in to whatever white people got going on. Like they become literally the center of your universe. They become like your Jesus and your God, like your Holy Trinity, to the point where you really believe that if you're not wired into what they're doing, and you don't get their endorsement, their seal of approval, their financial support, that you cannot survive. Well, let me just tell you a little secret. I don't get anything from white people. I mean, maybe if you count like YouTube, like white people own YouTube and I can go on YouTube, but white corporations don't support me at all. They hate my guts. I had a job working at a white university, Syracuse University. They fired me, or they wanted to fire me. I wanted to quit, so it was kind of a tie, right? I cussed them out on my way out the door. I don't get support from white-owned media. I don't like being featured in white-owned media because usually when they feature me, it's usually an attack piece. It's never anything based on trying to find truth or justice or figure out what really happened. It's usually to attack me because I'm a black male who's proud to be masculine, and they want all the black men to be funny, wimpy little bitches. Like, they like black men who wear a dress. They will celebrate a black man who is feminine. They will celebrate a black man who wants to be a girl, but they have no interest in hearing from black men who are proud of being men. And one of the reasons why I love men like Dr. Claud Anderson, and he's really my second father, by the way. I love that man. You can't say nothing negative about him ever. I won't even listen to you if you ever do. And is one of the things I love about him is, as a young black man, I was always interested in hearing from masculine black males who know how to fight, who just know how to fight. You ain't got to be a winner all the time. You ain't got to always win every battle. But there's something about me where I learned early that I just appreciate it when you put up a good fight, even if you lose. And so, when I think about, and I think I got that from my father. My father is very sick. He's really not doing well, and his immune system is extremely, extremely low. Even without a pandemic, he's in danger because his immune system isn't that strong. And I hope it's okay for me to mention that, but I'm making a point here. Well, let me just tell you that I know healthy ass people with really strong immune systems who are 10 times more scared of the pandemic than my father is. My father, in the middle of the fact that the doctors have, he just survived his cancer and he's fighting through all kinds of other shit. Him and my mother drove all the way to Florida. And then they drove all the way from Kentucky to Texas, which is a long drive, And he just willed himself through it. And I said, man, I said I love you and I respect you so much right now because you are a fighter. It doesn't matter if you win or you lose, man. It's like, are you a fighter? Like, are you gonna go down just saying I did my best? Like, I'm not gonna let you pump me. And the thing is that we don't have a lot of that in our community all the time. Our leaders definitely don't have that. They're scared to death. They get you to operate on fear. Everything they get you to do, they get you to vote out of fear. Like, everybody voted for Biden because they trained you to be afraid of what would happen if Donald Trump was in office. And now Biden's in office and you're finding out that it ain't much different. Give me a yes or no if you believe that your life as a black person is significantly better now that Biden took over for Trump. Give me a yes or no. Has your life gotten better? Like, do you feel like did you get your reparations checked? Did they start having meetings with black leaders immediately to make sure that they follow through on promises? Did they listen to anything that people like Ice Cube and his team of experts had to say about things that black people need? Are they scouring the hood to find ways to create opportunities for black people? No, they're not. They're not doing any of those things. So I'm just telling you that this weirdness that I see, this lack of empowerment, like this constant living in fear, like that's really, I want to say that that's very feminine energy, but I don't want to. I have to be careful about saying that because I don't want to insult the women. I don't want to insult the strong women that don't live in fear, because I'm gonna tell y'all, some of y'all men are about the biggest, most tampon wearing wimps I've ever seen in my life. Like, we got men who literally are outdone by the women in terms of courage. Like Vicky Dillard, dealing with her health issues and everything else, she's got more courage than 90% of the men that I know. And I just think that it's something that we got to really think about. I think as black people, like, we have to really stop and say, what is this? What is this? So really, when I was talking to Dr. Anderson today, and the reason I'm even having this conversation, I know it's weird that I'm playing my zombies game while I do it, but that's just what I'm doing. I figured it'd be something interesting to do to maybe lighten up the mood, because I'm feeling it. I'm in kind of a serious mood right now. I really think we got to kind of look at what we're allowing to pose as so-called black leadership, and I think we have to be very conscious and very deliberate about which leadership we respond to and which leadership we don't respond to. One thing about leadership that should probably change is you need leadership, in my view, that is not afraid of black masculinity, but also there are some really strong women that definitely are capable of leading. So we have to let women in the door as well. But also, we have to have leadership that is strategic, that is also solution oriented. If the idea isn't actually going to make a significant difference, then it's probably not a good thing to put your energy into. For example, like right now, the number one thing everybody's focused on is police shootings. It's a highly emotional issue, right? Like little Paquan getting shot by the cops makes everybody sad, and so you don't want to speak against that, right? But when you look at the number of reasons that black people are dying, police shootings, I don't even think police shootings being shot by the police, I don't even think it's in the top 15, right? So the question you have to ask yourself is, do Black Lives Matter, or do you just enjoy the show? Like, if you just enjoy the show, like if it just makes you feel good, then I get that, right? Like going to a football game makes me feel good, or watching a movie makes me feel good, but it's not real, right? So you got to know the difference between what's real and what's not. So if you're really trying to save black people, then you would confront things like, I don't know, Lizzo and her record label promoting diabetes and obesity and heart disease and everything else that's killing black people. Because if you look at the list of reasons black people die, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, that those things are at the top of the list. So I find it fascinating that when I brought up Lizzo and I said, why are you promoting obesity when black people are dying from obesity? The white media did its job. They pretty much said, oh, wait a minute. We have a solution-oriented black leader who's actually thinking logically. And oh my God, he's also masculine. So we've got to find some propaganda method to try to discredit him, right? We need to find some sort of propaganda that'll stick, that will allow us to make sure that black people continue to listen to the wrong people. So what they did was they went to the some of the propaganda playbook. The white liberal propaganda playbook is, okay, first we're going to use our media outlets to brand him as sexist, right? So he's toxic masculinity, right? Anything black and masculine is by definition toxic in their mind, right? So here's a black man who hates black women, right? Didn't ask me how I feel about black women. Didn't look and see how many black women I love and support. Didn't talk to the black women in my household who I defend and support every day. The college professor that I'm marrying next month. They didn't talk to any of those people. They just said, okay, we're going to live off of the stereotype of labeling the black man in a certain way. Now remember, these are supposed to be your allies. This is why I know these people are not your allies. They're your enemies in disguise. Malcolm X told you that, but some of y'all didn't listen. Malcolm X said it long before I said it. So I'm not the first person to understand this, but only intelligent people are actually going to get this. Stupid people are going to sit around and just get mad or not get it. So so the second thing they did was they went to this other BS. Oh man, crap. They went to this other BS about so-called body positivity. That somehow, if you talk about the number of black people that die from obesity, heart disease, and all these other factors, that somehow you are fat shaming, that you're attacking fat people and saying that being fat means we hate you and that you're a terrible person. And so to prove to you that we don't hate you, we're going to enable your fatness. We're going to enable you to be as obese as possible. And then what happens is, it is so odd to me. And again, I love kind of like breaking things down. You know, this is really for people that can really get what I'm saying, because it just shows the sheer stupidity and the sheer hilarity of the way they got you thinking, how they got you all literally ass backward. But literally, we will sit around and talk about fatness as body positivity and encourage you to be as fat as possible. But then as soon as this virus hits and it's killing the fat people first, we don't go back to the conversation and say, maybe we shouldn't have been promoting obesity to black people. Maybe we shouldn't have been telling black people that they need more Popeye's chicken and Dunkin' Donuts. Maybe we could have prevented some of these deaths by encouraging black people to be healthy, right? I mean, notice that all the conversations about the virus, every solution is a white supremacist government-based solution. There is not one single solution being highly touted. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if you're seeing this. There is not one solution that they're touting in media that involves, an anti-obesity campaign or eating healthy food campaigns or exercising and taking care of your immune system. They are not promoting that at all. What they're doing is they're saying, we want you to walk into the mousetrap, walk right down the rabbit hole, like eat yourself into an early grave. And then when you die in an early grave, because we sent you there, because we told you to get in the grave, then we're going to chalk it up to inequality. That it's racism and white supremacy are the reasons why you ate all the Popeye's chicken and then got a virus and got extra sick because your immune system can't handle even a super flu. I mean, can't handle pneumonia, can't handle none of these viruses that are out here because you're not healthy in the first place. So I really think that, like, at the end of the day, what I'm really getting at here is, and y'all got to forgive me, I'm a little crunk, but it's a Saturday, so fuck it. I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking today. This is what's on my mind. I'll be professional again on Monday. I'm sitting here. Actually, some of you are asking about my Xbox tag. I'm gonna just give you that. Let me see. Hold on. Here's my tag on the Xbox. Send me a friend request, and sometimes I play Call of Duty. So if you ever want to play together, just send me a friend request. I'll send you. I'll connect with some of you, as many as I can. I can't connect with everybody, of course, but I love you. All right. So I don't want to change that. Hold on. Okay. All right. So the point I'm getting at is I'm asking, is there anybody who ever sits around and just realizes how asinine and ass backward all this is? Like, literally, you know what I really think some of it is? I think some of it is that if you're trained to be stupid as a child, like if they just give you a bunch of stupid, things to do that you just believe in because everybody else does it, you're just going to repeat that behavior just because, because you're just living life on autopilot. Or maybe you haven't sat around and thought about it. Like, I really thought about that. I said, ain't this a bitch? Lizzo's promoting obesity and everybody's cheering this on. And then when COVID hits, everybody's dying from, obesity, among other things. Obesity is literally the number one death factor for black people. And when everybody's talking about all the black people dying in the pandemic, nobody's talking about how the mass promotion of obesity literally played right into the hands of the pandemic. Like anybody who brings that up is automatically attacked and vilified. But this is not an accident, right? Like, this is strategic. Like, this is the plan. Like, the plan is to keep you stuck on stupid, right? The plan is to keep you backward. Like, that's the goal. The goal is like, okay, we don't want black folks like critically thinking, because if they start critically thinking, they're going to figure out that this whole white supremacy nonsense was just stupid from the beginning. So what I want you to focus on is this, right? I want you to kind of look at a couple of things, right? Especially like if the pandemic is a good example, right? Every solution they're giving you is, none of them are long-term. All of them are basically white supremacist solutions in this way. Every solution that they're giving you in terms of how black people are supposed to survive the pandemic is based on you going to get a government shot. And what does that do? Well, one, it gets them political power, right? Which enhances white supremacy. They gain more power because now they get to take credit for saving black people, because black people apparently must be too stupid to save themselves. Number two, it gives them lots of economic power, because when they when you hear that the government just bought 100 million doses of a vaccine, they're not those dosages are not free. Like, that's money that's being put in somebody else's pocket. So you're giving somebody else economic power and political power when you accept their solution and don't construct your own. And so to market this solution, the standard playbook that they use is they say, okay, how do we get black people to do something that's short-sighted and a little bit illogical and might potentially be dangerous? Like, how do we get black folks to do that? Well, they say, okay, let's go to the playbook. Well, we go to the celebrities, because we've manufactured these celebrities, these people on TV who maybe they made famous rap songs, or they have famous TV shows. And we know that people, without thinking, will simply do what their favorite celebrity does. Man, I got killed. Oh man, that sucks. I hate starting over again. So we're gonna get them to all say the same thing. They're all gonna tout the same message, and that's gonna cause people to follow what they do. And then we're gonna go to the pastors, who pretty much have trained people to accept various forms of suggestion without questioning anything, because that's how you override criticism. Is anybody who asks a hard question, you pretty much attack them, right? Anybody who questions the protocol, you go after them. So always understand this: a person who gets mad at you for asking questions is usually a person who has something to hide. Like, so when Ice Cube was asking the Democratic Party to do more for black people, and he was asking the hard questions, well, what did they do? They attacked him. And why did they attack him? They attacked him because they didn't want anybody questioning their bullshit. And their hope was that if they attacked him well enough, they could get enough people to just take credibility away from him. And then also, so they used two things. They used misinformation. They also used fear. So the narrative created during the election was that, okay, Ice Cube's really just a Trump supporter in disguise. He's also, he's toxic masculinity because he's a black man that's speaking, in a masculine way. And also, you need to get Trump out of office, because if you don't, you're all going to die. Like, this is going to be terrible. So that needs to be your focal point. So we're going to reduce you to a low frequency vibration. We're going to kill your critical thinking skill, because we need you to be on a low frequency, not high frequency. We don't want you aiming for something better. We want you to live in fear, in which you're simply avoiding something terrible, right? So basically, and then also the other thing we're going to do is, this is a typical politician tactic, is delay, right? You don't just say no to something, you just delay. So when Ice Cube was asking the Biden administration, I talked to Ice Cube a lot during the whole thing, right? Right, we talked a lot. And one of the things that was interesting was, I noticed that when the Biden administration asked him to, or when he asked for that meeting with the Biden administration, they said, well, we'll meet you after the election, right? Well, last time I checked, Biden ain't met with anybody since the election. Biden didn't meet with black folks after the election. And they're thinking the logic is, and it's not even really their fault. Like they just played you like a sucker. Like they didn't play Cube like a sucker. They played the community like a sucker. Anybody who believes that stuff is full of crap. Because the thing is that that they got what they wanted out of you. Like they got the pussy. Like why would they call you now? Like they don't want to marry you now. Like why would you go buy the cow when the milk is totally free? So basically, I think that they throw these things out. Like they'll say, "Hey, yeah, after the election, we'll make sure you get this and get that." Like I think they offer these things because they hope that you're dumb enough to believe them. Like they're really praying that you have no brain cells in your head and you're gonna fall for that. Like it's like a dude that's trying to get some ass and he's like, whoa, like you really believe me? Like I just really told you a straight lie and you believe me? Like wait, you saw me in the room with the girl and I was naked and I told you, well, that's not my, that it wasn't me, and you really believe me? Like so sometimes people will just, test your stupid card. So I think that they I think that what's interesting is that you have some real leaders out here, right? Like any black person that wants to be really empowered, that really wants to win, make sure you read books like Powernomics, and also I want to encourage black folks that believe in things like Powernomics. You don't just say you love Dr. Claud Anderson. Like go buy his stuff. Like that's another thing that's really interesting. A lot of people, they call Dr. Anderson all the time, and they're always talking to him about how much they love Powernomics. And where I come from, if somebody really cares about you and cares about your business and respects you, they're gonna cut a check. They're gonna give you some of their resources. Like if I really it's like if I love a woman, like I love Alicia, right? And I could tell her like, hey baby, I love you, but but I know that love is an act. Like love is a verb. Like I can't say I love you and then punch her in the face or then abandon, or I love you, babe, and then abandon her for the rest of the week. Like, right? Like I show my love by spending time with her. I show my love by, helping her with the kids. I show my love by sharing my resources with her. So I encourage you to understand this other thing. And a lot of our people don't get that. Again, the victim mentality is what causes this. When you see yourself as nothing but a victim, what can happen is that you can sometimes forget that you have a role in the process. Like you can't, when you see somebody doing work that you admire, right? Like you see Dr. Anderson out here, he's been filing lawsuits on behalf of black folks. He's the only black leader that I know of that's prominent anyway, who has been consistently fighting and speaking an unabashed, unapologetic truth about reparations. He's the only one that has given complete, sincere, dedicated, deep dive, documented information of exactly down to the penny how much money they stole from you during slavery and Jim Crow, right? And so to me, so what happens is that a lot of people think Powernomics is super cool, and I think that's a wonderful thing, but there's another level to that. When I fell in love with Powernomics, when I fell in love with what Dr. Anderson was doing, I said, look, the only way I can really prove to you, I can tell you that I like you and that I respect you, but the way I prove that to you is I'm going to help you make money. Like I'm going to help you. I want the Powernomics Corporation to be strong. I want the Harvest Institute to be strong. In the Jewish community, when they support an institution, they support the damn fucking institution. They put money in that motherfucker. Like when they support the synagogue, they are writing checks to the synagogue. When they support a school, they will go build a school and fund the school, right? And for black folks, again, because many of our people are raised to be white supremacists, we'll say, I love that school, but won't write a single check for that school because we believe we don't have any money to give to anybody because we just believe by default we're poor. But yet you'll see black folks run around with Air Jordans and Popeye's chicken and new iPhones and everything else and all kinds of consumer items, but that economic support for the things you believe in is sometimes missing. So what I'm really trying to tell you guys, and this is what makes this platform a little different. Like I don't really, there are people that will tell me like what I need to do to become more mainstream. And one thing I just have to say is, it probably sounds arrogant to say it, but there is no way on this earth I ever want to be mainstream in this generation, because the mainstream is so stupid and backward and so committed to white supremacy. I don't want to be a part of none of that shit because I don't want to be a damn slave. Like I do not want corporate money. So if you know a corporation that might want to give me money or whatever, do not call them. I do not want to be at anybody's university. No, I do. I taught at a white university. I taught at Syracuse. It was fine, for when I was young, but it's not something I want to do now. I do not want government grants. I do not want to be connected to any politicians. I don't want to do any of that. Because the thing is that the solutions to these problems are so far out from what we're actually doing. They are so disconnected from what your most prominent black people are saying that it's literally like knowing that your food is on another planet. That literally there is nothing that they are saying that is really going to put black folks in a position of strength and power. Strength and power, to me, comes down to three fundamental things that we must do if we want to win. One, we got to stop letting white people educate our fucking kids. Do you understand? They got your kids going to school, and these kids can't read, don't know how to make $1, but they know all this crap that is absolutely worthless. Like, they know all these pronouns. Like, I failed English class, and I'm like, I didn't know that there were so many pronouns out here. But like, the kids know all the different sexual gender pronouns. And I'm not saying that stuff's not important. You can be whatever pronoun you want. I really don't care, right? Like you could be a dude in here. If you want me to call you Carolyn and whatever, I will call you Carolyn. But that is not the first thing that a black child needs to learn. A black child needs a lot before they start learning how to call Tommy Carolyn because he decided he wanted to change his gender, or to know what Tommy or Carolyn or whoever the fuck is doing in the bedroom. Like, I don't want to, why are we teaching kids? Before we teach them how to read, write, or do math, we're literally teaching them where to place their genitals. Like, I just don't understand that. I'm not saying that you can't have a space for that. I'm saying that shouldn't be at the top of the priority list, right? So your kid goes to school. I mean, processes. This is again, I'm just being overly logical here. I'm sure I'm going to piss off a lot of people when I say this, but think about it like this, right? So your child goes to school, and a child spends about 8 hours a day at school. So let's say on average that's 40 hours a week. 40 hours a week times 5. Okay, 2,000. So approximately 50 weeks, about 2,000 hours a week at school. Right? Oh, let's take away a few because we got summertime, right? So let's say 1,700 hours a year. I said per week. I'm sorry, I meant to say per year. So they're spending 1,700 hours a year at school. Over a decade, they spend 17,000 hours at school. Before they turn 18, let's say they spend a total of maybe 20,000 hours, right? So they're at school for 20,000 hours. Did I do the math right? Maybe I did the math wrong. I have no idea. But they literally have spent 20,000 hours at school. And how in the hell can you spend 20,000 hours at school and you come out of school and you can't even read? I mean, can anybody tell me how is that possible? How can a child spend 20,000 hours doing something and then suck at the very basics of that thing? Like this video game, right? I've probably spent a total of maybe 80 hours playing this video game since I first learned how to play. When I started playing with my sons, I was terrible. And I spent 80 hours. And look, I know how to kill zombies. I know how to run around. I know how to create explosions. Imagine if I spent 20,000 hours playing this game. Wouldn't you expect me to be pretty good at this game? Wouldn't you expect me to know what I was doing if I spent 20,000 hours playing this zombie game? So I think the question that I want to ask, inquiring minds really want to know, old people know what that means. They remember that National Enquirer thing. Inquiring minds really want to know, how is it that a child can spend 20,000 hours at school and come home and not know how to read, not know how to write, not know how to do math, not know how to balance a checkbook, not know how to buy a share of stock, and know nothing about the things that they need in order to be successful? Like, how is that? And not even know about Marcus Garvey, right? Like, Marcus Garvey, one of the most important black people in the history of this planet. There are kids that are 18-year-old seniors graduating from high school that don't know who Marcus Garvey is. Well, what were they doing with the other 20,000 hours? Like, I can explain who Marcus Garvey is to them in about 10 minutes. So you mean to tell me in the 20,000 hours that you spent at school, this place is supposedly preparing you for life, you spent all that time learning a bunch of stuff that is absolutely worthless. And this is the place that's supposed to prepare you for life. So do you wonder, I mean, when you know that this is going on, are you not surprised when our kids are not prepared for life? Like, why does it surprise you that when our kids go out into the world, they don't know how to make a dollar? All they know how to do is go beg a white man for a job. Again, white supremacy. White supremacist institutions only know how to teach you how to be a white supremacist. Meaning white supremacy, by white supremacy, I mean intense dependence upon white people to get the things you need. Intense dependence upon white folks to get your income, dependence upon white folks to get your education, dependence upon white folks to get your ideas, dependence on white folks to get your media, dependence on white folks to get your validation, like any awards, any accolades that you might need in order to feel like you're an important person. You're getting that from other people, right? So you can't. So most of our people, like the reason that people like Dr. Claud Anderson are not supported by a lot of the mainstream civil rights superstars and stuff like that is because the truth is a little bit too real for them to even understand it. It's not just a little too real, but I really believe it's above their pay grade. I don't even think that, like, I honestly, I used to be mad at them, and I don't spend my time being mad at them anymore. I really feel sorry for them because I can't imagine, like if I'm a basketball team and I'm playing against another basketball team, I cannot imagine a player who feels that in order for us to win the game, we need the other team to give us some points. Like, or in order for us to get the trophy, we need the other team's permission for us to win the trophy. So I think that really, if you want my solutions, I will just tell you that my theory, my belief is that things like Powernomics are the closest things we have to actual authentic solutions in the community. And the fact that white people run away from it is a sign. The fact that they get scared or they get mad when you bring it up is a sign that it's actually effective, right? The black folks that you should really be listening to, in my view, are the ones that are most hated by the Democratic Party. When the Democrats say, I can't stand that black person, you might want to take a listen and try to see what the person's saying, because chances are the reason that they hate them is because it's for the same reason that a pimp might hate anybody who wants to educate his hoes, or whatever, or anybody who threatens your power, like anybody who comes along with a better idea, or like a man, like you ever see an insecure man who just like gets mad anytime a better looking man comes around, or like a man that's a little bit nicer to his woman is like talking to his woman at work or whatever. Guys like that are terribly insecure. Well, why are they insecure? Well, they're insecure because maybe they should be, because they can sense a threat. They know that they're not doing right by their woman. They know that they're not the best option. They know that she could do better. And some of y'all ladies might be dating a man like that. Like any man who is extremely, extremely jealous, like extremely threatened by every other man within a 100-mile radius, chances are it's because deep down in his mind, he knows he's not the best man for you. And what he's worried about is that one day somebody's going to let the cat out the bag. Like one day somebody is going to tell you that there's better men out here for you that'll treat you better, that are better looking, that have more money, that have more intelligence, that are just more decent human beings. And so that's part of the reason why white media locks Farrakhan away, because Farrakhan is a very empowering, masculine sort of leader for the community, and they don't. And the last thing they want is for black men to collectively re-embrace our masculinity in a strategic and intelligent way. Like they're okay with you being masculine if it involves like sleeping with a bunch of hoes and going to the club and buying champagne bottles. They don't give a shit about that. Like whatever, or doing stuff that'll get you sent to prison. Like they actually appreciate. They like that because that's how Joe Biden built up his prisons. What they don't like is when black men get together and say, okay, because we are leaders and stewards of the community, we're going to build a school. Or when black men get together and say, let's start a corporation and let's go make our own money and let's go compete with the white boys. Or when black men get together and say, let's really marry and love the shit out of black women and build strong black families, and we're gonna have our babies. Like, we're gonna really be there for our children so that our women don't feel like the government has to take the place of the black man inside the household, right? Like, that's their fear. Their fear is that the majority of our community will wake up and become fighters. I mean, real fighters. Like I'm not talking about like in a Black Lives Matter, like we're gonna burn down a building, you know, because there's, I don't know, because we're rioting over something type of fighting. Like, don't get me wrong, that's fine, but there's another type of fight that I think that black nationalists can relate to a little bit better, and that fight might be one where it says, okay, I need some C4. Oh man, okay. Ah, crap, I'm down. Yeah, so ultimately, I think that as black people, that desire and ability to fight is something that we. I cannot get out of here. What am I gonna do? Oh my God, this is terrible. I got killed. Okay, so anyway, I'm pretty much done, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. I know I've been ranting for a little bit, but I want to say this. Look, in conclusion, basically, number one, Powernomics.com is where Dr. Anderson's books and all his stuff is located. And one of the things I can tell you that I've always believed is that anybody who believes in his ideas and supports his ideas shouldn't just say that they support. You actually should financially support. So I encourage you to go to Powernomics.com and buy some books. I give credit to Ice Cube. He and I partnered, and he bought 1,000 copies that were given away, and I bought 1,000 copies were given away, and I'll let you know more about that as time goes on. And then also, the other thing is that when you're talking about really trying to move forward, and I'm not talking about the whole community, because honestly, I don't think that in this generation we're ever going to really get to the point where the entire community is really doing what's necessary to move forward. I think that we're going to have another another generation of people just complaining and screaming Black Lives Matter from the rooftops, hoping that a white person will listen or whatever, and we're not going to make a lot of progress. But what I do believe, though, is that in your own life, you can achieve empowerment. Like, I believe that in your own life, you can, I think by embracing things like, educating your own kids, you can make a lot of progress with that, right? You got to educate your kids, at least when they come home. Make sure that you're teaching them the things they need to know so they can be prepared. School is not going to do that. School is not designed to teach black kids how to be empowered black people. That's just not what it was set up for. Also, when you're talking about things that really allow you to truly be free, I don't know a single black person who runs their own business, who is making money, who doesn't feel free. I really don't. I really don't know. Everything is everything says your political opinions are suspect, but that's okay for you to think that they're suspect. I mean, I think you're suspect for whatever you're saying. I mean, so there you go. We're even now, because I'll tell you at the end of the day, I'm not here to seek approval on my point of view. I'm here to ask you a basic question. Give me a yes or no. Is the current method working? Are these other political opinions that you're hearing out here, are they actually effective? Are they achieving any sort of progress for black people? Like, do you see black people do you see our community in a much better position now than we were, say, in 1990 as a result of the politics? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. So what I would say to you is, if you have a problem with my politics, first of all, I mean, besides saying fuck you, my second response would be, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Show me the counterexample. God damn it. Don't just tell me I don't like what you said because you hurt my feelings. Like, of course I'm gonna hurt your feelings because I'm saying something that's completely different from everything you've heard since you were a child. Of course you're gonna be mad. Like, well, nah, he did. Okay, fine. So after you sit there bitching and getting mad, show me a solution. Show me. You can't show me a solution because your bullshit doesn't work. That's why you can't show me a solution. So that's what I'm saying to anybody. I'm saying to anybody, look, you can have an issue with my point of view if you want to. That's fine. I don't care. I know a lot of black folks don't like me. I'm not very popular in certain spaces. I know this, right? There are spaces I won't fit because I don't match the brainwashing protocol. But I'm not stupid. The reason that some of those people will still hear me and get mad at me is because they know I'm not stupid. They know that I had more education by the age of 25 than they will have in their entire life. I was teaching college students when I was 22 years old. So I'm not coming out of left field with this. What I'm doing is I'm using the exact same analytical tools that I used to understand financial theory at the highest level. And when I study the theory, what I do is I break down the facts and look at what's working and what's not, and try to see if 1 + 1 = 2. And if it doesn't add up, then it doesn't make sense. So your big problem right now is that because you have so many people that operate on emotion and don't operate on logic and are really incapable of operating outside the construct of white supremacy, they come up with a bunch of dumbass solutions. They simply think that if I repeat the same thing that the civil rights superstars have been saying since 1985, that somehow that means that I said something good, because, and it's good because everybody else is saying it. It's not good because I can prove that it actually works. It's not good because I can show you where, 50,000 jobs got created in the black community because of this idea, right? No. They'll say it's good because other people are saying it. So the thing is that there is, you know what they say, misery loves company? Well, ignorance loves company too. A lot of people are sheep. And there's comfort in being the sheep. Even if you know that all of y'all are going to slaughter, there are some sheep who feel comfortable when they know that there are other sheep going to slaughter with them. So then when y'all all get slaughtered, when all y'all sitting in the slaughterhouse one by one getting your heads chopped off, you all say, well, it's because of white supremacy. Racism did it. Or it's because we're black. We're black, and being black is so terrible. Being black is just so hard. Lord Jesus, Lord be, Lord it be. It's so hard. I was just gonna go to church, and I'm gonna pray to white Jesus, and then I'm gonna go to work, and I'm gonna pray to the white man that I work for, and then I'm gonna turn on TV, and I'm gonna listen to the white man on TV, and they gonna explain to me that the reason I keep getting slaughtered is because it's so hard being black, and that being black means that I got to live in fear, and I can't do nothing for myself, and I need to sit here and just suffer until I die. That's what you're getting. That's what you get. That's pretty much what you have. Again, prove me wrong. Show me where any of these solutions being presented are actually going to take us anywhere, right? And so I will say this: I'm not really talking to people that don't understand where I'm coming from. I get if they're not happy with what I say. I expect that, right? I'm really talking to empower the people that are hearing this, that are open-minded enough to go back and back test and say, wait a minute, let's see, have any of these other ideas actually worked? And I want them. I want to talk to the people that have the courage to say, okay, maybe this isn't working, right? So maybe that means, um, again, it goes back to three key areas. One, educating your own kids, because they got your kid going to school for a total of about 20,000 hours before they turn 18. It's unfathomable to me that you can spend 20,000 hours in a school building and not know how to read, or not know anything about the most significant black leaders in history, and not know anything about how to progress yourself economically. That is not an accident. That was deliberate. That was the deliberate distraction, or the deliberate withholding of information, and the deliberate replacement of other information that fits a propaganda-based agenda. Right. That's why your kid comes out knowing more about transgender pronouns than they know about uh, building black wealth. Number two, you have to create your own jobs. All these kids, when they are learning, they need to learn how to start businesses and how to invest. If you have wealth, then white supremacy doesn't bother you as much on a daily basis. My life got a whole lot better when I didn't have to work for white people anymore. And it's not even their fault. Like, if I go beg a white man for a job because I don't have any other skill, then is it his fault that he's my boss? No, he's going to do what's best for him. I'm not even mad about that. But what I did learn was that, in order for me to be empowered, I got to find a way to build my own somehow, or connect with people who are building their own, or maybe make investments. I mean, I generate my family income not just through my business, but just through stock market investments. I take the extra money I have and I put it into stocks. So I'm invested in white people's companies. So I'm all for integration. I obviously support economic integration because I buy in, I own shares of, Nvidia, which made me $100,000 this year. I'm invested in shares of, or whatever it maybe 50,000 to 100. I don't know, maybe a ton of. I'm invested in Amazon, which made me tens of thousands of dollars this year. I'm invested in Microsoft, which made me tens of thousands of dollars this year. But I'm not going to go work for Microsoft. I'm not going to go to the corporate office at Microsoft, but I'll own the piece of the company. So I'm not anti-white. I'm not anti-anybody. Like, I don't even feel the need to be anti-anybody. Nobody, why anti is not a productive type of energy anyway. And so you have to educate your own kids to get rid of the propaganda, replace it with relevant information. Two, you have to find ways, a better economic system. Going to work for other people just does not work for us. And then three, when you see those Black-owned businesses, you got to support them if you can. When you see your heroes emerge, you must support them. You got to support Black media that you believe in. If you see a Black media outlet, somebody spitting game on YouTube or whatever, subscribe to the channel. Give them a thumbs up whenever you can. If you can buy their product, buy something from them. Like you got to support your own, and then you can elevate the ideas that matter to you. You can elevate the people that matter to you. And I'll give you a real life example. Because Powernomics changed my life, I knew that the best way I could show my appreciation to Dr. Claud Anderson, besides buying a few of his books, is to do everything I could to lend my platform to supporting the promotion of his ideas. I played a part in getting Dr. Anderson on the Breakfast Club, which made me very proud. And when he went on the Breakfast Club, suddenly all these celebrities were aware of his ideas. If you find something you believe in, you got to remember that love is a verb. Love is an act. Love isn't just a bunch of words like, oh, I love you. I love you. Who gives a fuck about what you say? Stop saying you love something. Show it. Show it with your actions. Stop, just like every other area of your life. And this is a hard standard. A lot of people love to talk because talk is cheap. A lot of people love to tell you what they're going to do. They love to make promises and all that. I'm going to tell you a little secret just to tell you just how intolerant I can be sometimes. One pet peeve I have is I can't stand, anybody ever know those brothers who just talk fast and they always talking about what they're going to do and they never do it? That they always talking like, I'm going to do this, girl, I'm going to do that, and we're going to do this, and when we start making money, it's going to be like this and like that. And they always talk and never follow through. Like, I don't know if y'all know people like that. I'm sure you do. But that really bothers me. Like, I hate that. I hate that because that is a weak behavior. That's not, in my view, where I come from, that's not masculine. Part of being a man means, that you do everything in your power to follow through on what you say you're going to do. So when I see guys fast talking women so they can get in their drawers and telling them that they're going to do this and going to do that, and they don't follow through on anything, it just really bothers me, and it's not their fault because chances are maybe they weren't raised by a real man or they got some bad examples. But, when I see, guys, that grow old and they never took care of their kids or anything, it really bothers me because it's kind of like you had no standard. Like, as a human being, as a man, you haven't been able to jump the bar on any level, right? And that to me is a real problem in the community, and one of the big reasons why the community struggles is because your men have been taught to not all of them, but many of our men have been taught to be basically a bunch of fast talking bitches. That's it. Just, not really able to follow through on anything. And really, I don't blame those women who feel frustrated by that, who feel frustrated by, what they see with some of the men, because men aren't supposed to be like that. Men are supposed to be solid and sturdy. Men are not supposed to be flimsy and kind of, like it's like spades. Like, the man's supposed to be the big joker and the little joker and the ace. He's not supposed to be, two books and a possible, right? He's not supposed to be your possible books. He's supposed to be your big joker if he can be it. If he can't be the big joker, he at least gonna be the little joker or the ace, or he's at least gonna do his best, right? So this doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean never making a mistake. What it does mean is that you don't allow your mistakes to define you. So you can't be a person who goes through life and thinks that your mistakes are suddenly okay because you admit that you have mistakes. You say, well, everybody ain't perfect, and yeah, we all make mistakes. Yeah, we all do make mistakes, but where is your commitment to trying to raise to a different standard? Where is your intolerance for yourself? What point are you saying to the world, look, yeah, I've made mistakes, but goddamn it, I'm determined to do better. I am determined to do better. I will die trying to do better. That is the mindset of a fighter. And so when they have these campaigns against toxic masculinity and all this other stuff, and they're trying to place all that on the black man, they're really trying to kill your ability to be a fighter. And I encourage you just to fight against that. But then again, that's what masculinity is. It means that you're not going to sit and complain that somebody's trying to stop you. You just don't let them stop you, right? A football team doesn't complain that the other team's playing defense. You just play better offense. So I don't complain about the people that are trying to stop me. Not very often. I don't really give a shit because they can't stop me. I'm smarter than them. I work harder than them. I'm more determined than them. I have a clearer vision than they do. My ideas are better than them. You can't stop me. So I'm only gonna be so upset when you try to stop me. The only time I'll be upset is when I did not fight you, when I did not do my best. That's the only time I'm upset. I'm never gonna be upset with you. I'm really gonna be really, really challenging myself. Right? Like, Boyce, you didn't meet the standard. Like, Boyce, why did you let them punk you? Hey, Boyce, why you no, don't you flip flop on that, Boyce. So don't you stand firm, Boyce, right? Like, that's the kind of dialogue that I think you have to have, not this whole like, oh, I can't do nothing because they didn't let me do nothing. That's just not how a man's supposed to operate, in my view. And I don't care what anybody thinks. That's just the fact. So, because remember, you're in a battle, you're at war, and when you're at war, you have to be a fighter. If you can't fight, then go sit on the sideline. All right, so I gotta go. Thank you for listening to my rant for today. I know this was a Saturday rant. I just decided to sit around and run my mouth, and I probably shouldn't have done that because my mouth is actually hurting a little bit. But I will talk to you guys later. And hit the thumbs up button on your way out if you could. I would really appreciate that. And I promise you, when Monday comes around, I will be I'll be a normal person again. But it's Saturday, so what the hell? I decided to just let it loose. All right, there's my Twitch channel, by the way, if you want to follow me on Twitch. Well, we do stocks and gaming all the time, and I'll just play, my video games, and we talk